Good afternoon or morning, everybody, and welcome back to another weather forecast here by Agent Weather Forecast. This would be another weather upload here on the potential for another major severe weather outbreak here. Looking very likely now. The worst of it will be in the south central, and we could be seeing some scattered thunderstorms and maybe a little bit of a risk in the Midwest, but that's still a little too far to say exactly for the Midwest. But we still have a very good chance already, a 15% chance on the day for severe weather, and it's very likely it will actually go up. We're going to be looking now at the wind shear and all of that so you guys can see exactly how likely it is to see the severe weather outbreak, the timing, and exactly the areas that will be affected the worst and areas that will be affected in general. Again, we have the perfect ingredients. We have the instability here in the Gulf Coast. We have the moisture, the overday heating, humidity, and we also have a ton of wind shear. And we're going to be seeing a lot of really high K value. So we have perfect, really, ingredients once again, just like the Easter outbreak. I'm not saying this is going to be like it. I'm just saying we have the ingredients, not only just like last week, well, just like last weekend, but also like Easter's. But again, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. If you are new to the channel, of course, let's try to get to 2,180 subscribers by the end of today. That would be actually really great. So again, it takes 1 second to subscribe, and I do daily weather forecasts on multiple topics. And also, if you want to share the channel to any friends or family, that will even be even better. But without further ado, let's get in this video. So we're gonna be looking at the day 4 the day 4 on the SPC outlook again. Like we looked at a couple weeks ago. So this is what we're gonna be looking at once again to see exactly the risk for the severe weather for again Wednesdays, the day of concern for seeing the worst of the severe weather. So this is where we have our area of focus here. We have a 15% chance. So that's going to be really most likely maybe seeing a slight risk as of right now. When you have a 15% chance, but when you have a 30% chance, that usually means an enhanced or a moderate risk. So as of right now, the risk is not looking incredibly high. I really think it should be upgraded to maybe a enhanced risk. Maybe by day 2, but I think it will stay at a slight risk from now on into tomorrow. So again, we're seeing another outbreak, and this is going to be for once again the south central, including areas into northwestern Louisiana, much of northeastern Texas, now including Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa and Arlington. You guys have been seeing a couple of outbreaks in the past week or so. So we're starting to see this original Tornado Valley and parts of the Tornado Alley and parts of Dixie Alley starting to get a lot more active. And then we'll even have now southeastern Kansas and maybe areas near southwestern Missouri as well. So definitely having some other states now like Missouri and Kansas starting to get active in the severe weather. So this is what we have now. Now we're going to be looking at the really the height, the winds, and also going to be checking out the jet stream. We will be seeing a jet stream coming in place here. This is going to bring in all this wind shear. This is going to bring in all the instability, and this is going to be seeing our area of focus right here. And really, we're going to be seeing that in the middle, in between these, where we have all this inflow. This is going to be the area of focus right here, where we're seeing a ton of winds in the atmosphere, and the higher in the atmosphere again. Into now Wednesday, of course, we're going to be seeing just a ton of moisture again. Definitely possibly seeing. It's very, very likely we'll be seeing very strong straight line winds here. As you can tell, the isobars are incredibly close to each other. It looks like we'll be seeing some very strong northerly winds coming to the south central. So very strong winds is very likely we'll be seeing very strong straight line winds, not only from the severe weather, but also just in general really strong winds that are not part of the severe weather. So this is definitely going to cause a huge threat for possibly seeing now more debris, possibly seeing more power outages with the wet and moist soil. We're going to be seeing really strong winds. That's going to be obviously a lot easier to take down trees with the wet moisture and the roots that maybe uproot roots and take down, of course, power lines. But we're going to be seeing possibly up to 90 knots to 97 knots. And then this jet stream will start the weekend later on into Wednesday night. But again, we're still going to be seeing very strong winds in these areas right here into Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, even parts of Kansas. We'll be seeing again these isobars, these central isobars, very close, which is indicating again very, very strong winds and straight line winds. And then as we now move into Thursday, we can possibly see once again this risk maybe going up a little bit now for areas into the Ohio Valley, areas into the Midwest and the Southeast. You guys will then possibly see that risk, but it doesn't look like it will be a huge tornado necessarily risk. It may be more of a wind threat and hail threat for these areas. But we have that early instability. We have the wind shear. We have this jet stream all set in place. Now let's take a look at this radar here. So again, this is for Wednesday. And as you can tell, we're already starting to see some really strong bands out here into the south central, bringing some very powerful linear lines, and very likely some could be tornadic, but the biggest threat could, of course, be the winds. And that's going to be a threat for Arkansas, Louisiana, parts of Oklahoma, and we have more strong bands moving into the Missouri area by, again, Wednesday, and this will now connect into one big, strong linear line of severe weather bands stretching all the way from the Ohio Valley, and it's going to be like a little wall cloud formation. So we're going to be seeing it's going to be like a kind of a U, but like a kind of like a U, but obviously a larger U, but that is going to be that sign of seeing very strong linear lines, very widespread. We'll be seeing the severe weather risk stretching all the way into the Texas area, possibly south of Dallas, near just north of the College Station, near the Tyler area, possibly seeing another severe weather risk, and also seeing a very high severe weather risk now. Not necessarily at the level 5 high, I just mean in general, very good risk for northern Mississippi, western Mississippi, areas into northern Louisiana. Once again, you guys are in this area of risk, and then areas into western Mississippi, western Tennessee, and western Louisiana. Western Kentucky. And then as we now move later into now Wednesday night, this severe weather does move now into the Gulf Coast, but we'll be seeing a little bit of threat as well into the areas as well for maybe the possibility for seeing severe weather again for the southeast. So here we'll be seeing this really strong severe weather arriving in. Mainly the Wednesday is a threat. That could be seeing some stronger bands moving to Georgia, of course, and then these stronger bands now moving to the Hattiesburg area, Gulfport, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and this continue bringing that severe weather risk by Thursday, where we have that jet stream once again strengthening, bringing some very strong bands for the Carolinas mainly, and that's going to be for Charlotte, and that's what we're looking at here. Now, we're going to be looking at GFS, tropical tidbits, so we can be seeing a variety of models, so you have a better look at this. So here we are looking at Wednesday, these very strong bands. Of course, we're going to be seeing this severe weather possibly all the way into the northern Illinois area, but our main area of focus, or the strong severe weather, of course, is in this area, and we'll be seeing these very strong severe weather bands towards Missouri. Definitely think this risk should be extended a bit more into Missouri and really a bit more into Illinois and Kentucky. I think it should become a lot more widespread, but again, we still have plenty of updates left for the SPC here. So as we continue to move on later on Wednesday in the day, these bands will continue to strengthen and become more and more widespread. And the area of focus actually is the lower Mississippi River Valley area, and also parts of the Ohio Valley. We're definitely going to be seeing some very strong bands out here into southern Illinois, western Kentucky, parts of southeastern Missouri, much of western Tennessee, of course, all the way into the northern Louisiana area, and we're also going to be seeing some possibly scattered thunderstorms that could be quite strong, and of course producing large hail in areas into northeastern Texas. And then as we continue to move on later on Wednesday in the afternoon, we continue to see the severe weather moving now eastward at a decently fast rate. Definitely a threat for some really broad rotation and some really strong bands, of course, very, very widespread. And then this area of focus will now be for Mississippi, and also going to be seeing some very strong bands into northern Tennessee. Of course, we have this whole area, though, that's going to be not only seeing that severe weather risk, but also, of course, seeing the strong winds and flash flooding as well. And then as we continue on Thursday, that severe weather risk to pop up now for the Carolinas and parts of north central Georgia. And that risk does falls apart and goes off into the Atlantic. Now we're looking at the Cape Valleys here. The highest Cape Valleys will be in the south central. Not going to be seeing really any high Cape Valleys moving into north central plains, where we start to see that severe weather in Minnesota and Dakotas. That's what we're going to be seeing starting off. But highest Cape Valleys will be in areas into the Texas area in the south central. So starting off on Tuesday night, we're going to be seeing these Cape Valleys kind of getting a bit higher. Now we're going to be seeing this Gulf moisture, the stream of this really strengthening. We're going to be seeing a lot more. And also we're going to be seeing, of course, these northerly winds as well moving in. So that's we're going to be seeing a ton of wind shear throughout these areas right here. Again, by Tuesday, even by Tuesday, we're still seeing these very high K values. We're going to be seeing around 4,000 joules per kilogram. The main area is going to be really northeast. We're going to be seeing our highest amounts of energy more from to now be near the Austin area. We're going to be seeing again getting close to around 4,000 joules per kilogram. As we now move into now Wednesday morning, we see a huge change right here. A whole huge flow of energy now moving to northern Texas and even parts of scattered south central Texas. We'll be seeing an incredibly big amount of energy here. Definitely likely of producing a ton of course, a lot of energy in this atmosphere. Definitely to cause, of course, the respawning systems for severe weather, and also, of course, respawning. Of course, large tornadoes. Going to be seeing again around 5,000 joules per kilogram. We're going to be seeing up to 4,900. So even these high numbers, these numbers are really high. You're going to be seeing also high numbers for the Dallas area up to 4,500. So we're definitely having a ton of energy in the atmosphere here. And then by literally Wednesday, this amount of energy kind of falls apart. Only seeing maybe some mid 2000s later into the day Wednesday. And then we see a bit higher numbers here around the higher 3,000s. But that does, of course, really the highest amount of energy will be until Wednesday morning when we start to see that most amount of energy. And it's going to be at its peak for its highest K values. Now that we look at that, we're going to be taking a look at the wind shear here. And we're going to be seeing, again, like I said, really strong wind shear. Our maximum will be up to 106 knots. That is a whole ton of wind shear. And that is exactly what we need to see. This instability in the atmosphere, of course. And then, of course, here it is, moving straight into the south central and to our area of focus. And our strongest wind will actually be right here into the Kansas area. Very, very powerful wind shear. It's going to be quite strong, a bit more wind shear compared to last weekend. And that's going to be moving in, of course, into the south central in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi. That is, of course, where we have our area of focus for severe weather with our 15% chance. Of course, it will possibly maybe extend a bit more. And then again, that shear does, of course, increase now once again into now Wednesday, where we have that day of severe weather coming in. We're going to continue to see that shear now out here. This time, the severe weather into the areas of the Mississippi Valley, which is also where we have the severe weather. We're going to be seeing a ton of wind shear set in place before the severe weather outbreak again by early tomorrow and Monday. We'll be seeing a ton of wind shear set in place here. That's definitely causing a lot of energy and instability. And then we have another little area of really a little bit of another area of stream here that is going to bring it even more. A bit less, of course, but a bit more wind shear out here into the south central. We're going to be seeing, looks like we are going to be seeing again this flow of energy from the Gulf, and we're also going to be seeing these westerly winds and northerly winds as well. That's going to be causing that high threat of wind shear. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I'm actually not necessarily excited for another severe weather outbreak. This one, again, tends like we are going to be seeing a bit of a widespread threat all the way from the Midwest to the south central. With even just a general risk, but the higher risk for severe weather, where we have a 15% chance, is in the south central, which is what we've been seeing. This amount of severe weather really ramping up and skyrocketing the past week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please stay safe.